Hi, I'm Brian King, and it's time for another Marriage Monday. I've been doing the oil changes on my daughter's cars recently, and it got me thinking about preventative maintenance. And, you don't just change the oil in your car, you also check all the fluids, check the tires, make sure everything's in good working order. I ask them, how's the car been driving? How's it been going? And listen to them and see if they have any issues with it. And then beyond that, I even take it for a little test drive because, when you're driving something every day, they don't live here right now. So I don't hear about their car every day. But when you drive it every day, you don't necessarily notice the changes. So I hop in it and take it for a spin just to see if there's something they haven't noticed that maybe I'll pick up on. And on top of that, I make sure that everything is the way it should be. One of my daughter's cars was having an issue with using a little bit of oil between oil changes. And that's, these are older cars, but still not a good thing. And I'm not a mechanic, but I do know how to use Google really well. And I found out that for her particular model of car, one of the common problems was a stuck PCV valve. Just a little thing. I got a new one here, I'm going to put it in later. I ended up cleaning the old one, so that held it over for now. This one, they're supposed to rattle. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but if they don't, then it's stuck and it's not doing its job. It's basically broken until you clean it or replace it. I did both. I'm going to replace it when I see her again. And it's just a little thing, but it can lead to big problems apparently. If you don't change it, that oil that's getting used is going to clog up your catalytic converter and basically lead to premature engine failure. Not what I wanted for my daughter's car. So I'm really glad I caught it. Now, thinking about preventative maintenance, why do you do preventative maintenance? Because you care about the vehicle in this case, and you want to get as much as you can out of the vehicle. You want it to run right. You don't want it to leave them somewhere stranded because of something that got overlooked. You take care of the things that you care about. How does that relate to marriage? Well, marriage isn't one big thing you do. It's hundreds of little things that you have to constantly repeat, and that's basically called life. There's nothing wrong with that. And then it's also checking things every once in a while, doing preventative maintenance. Why? Because sometimes a little thing left unchecked can cause big problems down the road. So how do you do preventative maintenance in your marriage? Well, take some time. Put it on the calendar. Check the obvious things. You do a checklist in your mind. Am I doing the things I'm supposed to do? Am I taking her on dates occasionally? Am I taking the trash out? Am I cleaning the things that I should be cleaning? Is my stuff in her way? Maybe I need to be more organized and make sure that I'm not making problems for her. Everybody's different, but I'm sure you have a mental checklist of the way that things are supposed to be. Check it out mentally. And then here's another idea. Ask her how things are going. Just like when I ask my daughters how their cars are going, sometimes they'll say, well, it's got this noise back here, or something that's just not quite right, or it doesn't feel right when I go around corners. That's how you're going to find out what's going on. That's really important, because how can you fix something if you don't know there's an issue? Once you find out there's an issue, you take care of it because you care. Now, with your marriage, when you ask her about it, listen. And if she says something, even if, don't just say, well, it's an older car, it's going to use some oil anyway, that's just normal. No, it's probably not. And you want to take care of your marriage, So listen to her. If she doesn't feel like she's getting out enough, maybe you need to get a babysitter for the kids so that she can go out and do something on her own just to have some fun. If you don't, it's going to cause trouble down the road. And that's the whole thing about preventative maintenance, is you're basically trying to prevent something worse down the road. So give your marriage a checkup. Compare it to the list of things you're supposed to be doing. And like I said, whether it's a regular date night, whether it's making sure that you communicate with her daily about things, the list is endless, because that's what life is. But the good thing is, if you pay attention to it because you care, then you're going to avoid problems down the road. You're going to fix things when they're small instead of when they're huge problems to deal with. Make a list of what you think is important in your marriage, then sit down with your wife and talk to her about it. She may have a list of things that she thinks are important that you didn't even know about. Then you can combine your list and then just do it. Why not? You want a good marriage? You got to put some effort in. You want your cars to last a long time? You got to put some effort in. It's a good thing. A lot of people don't even think about it. I hear this all the time that, she's a high maintenance woman. Well, it's usually said by people who want a no maintenance woman, and there's no such thing. You're not low maintenance either. Everybody's high maintenance. That's why you've got to do a little bit at a time, every time you get a chance. And then it's not a big deal. It is not hard to change the oil and to find little problems like this when they're little. It's hard to replace a car when you weren't planning to. It's hard to get a tow truck because the car broke down. Those are hard things. But just doing the little things, that's easy. It's the same with marriage. Maintenance is easy. Just do it. And if you've had a long time where you haven't been doing maintenance, it might take some more effort at the start, but it is definitely worth it. Take her on a date. Maybe it's time for a vacation. Maybe it's not that big. Maybe it's just bring her a cup of coffee when she's not expecting it, or her favorite drink, or leave her a little note. It doesn't have to be big things, but it does have to be done, because you want it to work for a long time and to be fun. So that's my thoughts for this Marriage Monday. Don't neglect the periodic maintenance. It's worth it, because your marriage is valuable. See you next time for another Marriage Monday. Until then, enjoy your marriage.